everyone! So I am once again out in the garden. I can definitely feel the transition from more of the houseplant tasks going out into the garden tasks, so I'm very excited about that. And today what I wanted to do and what I have on my garden agenda is something that I get asked about pretty regularly, which is how do I refresh my raised beds. So I have 4 raised beds and then a whole bunch of containers, and I leave the soil in it from the previous year. So I don't empty out my containers and start with fresh soil. One, that would be a big pain to figure out how to get all of the old soil down 3 flights of stairs and then bring even more soil up. But also, you don't need to do that. You can just simply refresh the soil that was in there the previous years, and I've done that now for 2 years in a row, and everything grows just as well each year. So typically what I've done so far, I'm going to do things a little bit differently I think this coming winter, but what I've done so far is I will clean out any containers with annuals around fall, and then I'll pretty much not do anything to the containers until spring, in which case I will add in compost of some sort and then top off with fresh soil. And those are the only 2 things that I really add in. Now, this past year I did leave some of the garden scraps in my grow bags. The 3 other raised beds I've actually already planted out with bulbs, so I kind of did the refreshing in the fall. But what I'm going to try differently next year is to, instead of completely pulling out the roots of the plants, I'm going to leave them in there. So I've been told, and I'm hoping this works out because it would make things a lot easier for me, but I've been told if you just cut off everything that's basically growing up from the soil and leave the roots in your containers, that those roots will decompose throughout winter, and it also kind of helps to aerate the soil. So if you've ever done that, if you've ever completely left the root balls in there of annuals, let me know if that works out. I'm wondering, I think it'll work really well for like smaller flowers and vegetables. I don't know how to work out for tomatoes, but if I don't have to worry about getting giant root balls down and composted, that would be amazing. So let me know if that's something you do, and that's what I'm going to plan to try for this year. But last year I removed all the root balls, which took a bit of soil out, so I have probably like 4 inches to fill in this raised bed. And what I'm going to show you today in terms of what I do in this raised bed, I do the exact same things in my smaller containers as well. And I will do this typically around the time when I'm getting ready to plant them, which is what I'm about to do. I'm going to plant some cool weather crops in this raised bed behind me and 2 grow bags. So that's what I'm going to get refreshed today. I will show you my process, but first let me talk you through specifically what it is that I'm using. First is this little garden fork. Is that the technical term? I don't know, but I got this, I think, off of Amazon. It's really cheap. It breaks if I pull too hard on it, but because my garden is so small, I'm working mostly with containers, it works fine. So even though it breaks, it still does the job that I need it to do. So I am going to go through and just kind of break up the soil. I did a pretty good job of that in the fall, but just in case there's anything in there, but also turning the soil around, just kind of getting some of the soil from the bottom up to the top and all mixed through. So that'll be the first thing. Then I will come in and layer with about 1 inch or 2 of compost. So the compost that I got for this year, it's just called compost and manure. The garden center recommended it as its favorite one. I think there's some like chicken manure in there, there's some peat. I don't know everything that's in there, but I have never necessarily gotten the exact same compost. I just go to whichever garden center and take what they recommend, and I trust their opinion. So I have some of that compost and manure here, and then similarly, I kind of just use whatever soil is available as well. Now make sure you are using potting soil specifically for containers. You don't want to put your like garden dirt or soil into the containers because it doesn't work quite the same way. So here, this is actually I think my first time using the Fertilome brand. So I will put compost a couple inches, mix that together, and then whatever else I have to fill up, I will do that with the soil. So it's a fairly easy, simple process, which is exactly what I want in the garden. So let's go ahead and I will start clearing out the raised bed and getting it all refreshed and ready for planting. So the very first thing I actually need to do is take out these 2 trellises. I'm not going to use them in this bed this year. I am still going to use the flower box right there and grow morning glories up it, but these 2 trellises I think I'm going to put by the garden doors, the entrance into the house, with some more morning glory growing up in pots. So I'm going to take these 2 out and just store them by the door for now. I also need to remove the drip system, and then I will place that back down once everything is refreshed. So the soil has now been worked through, so now it is time to put in about an inch or two of compost into this raised bed and then mix it in again. This bed is now done and refreshed, and I put the drip system back in. That's still not going to be turned on until probably June, because May is usually wet enough that I don't need it, but we'll see how it goes this year. But that looks good, and I'm excited to get some seeds in there. So the last two I'm going to refresh today. This grow bag here, and then this one hiding behind the potting mix. And these two grow bags are now refreshed and ready for seeds as well. So that's going to be everything for today. I'm really excited to have these beds refreshed, ready to go for the season. And like I said, it's really simple to do. I use the same soil year after year and just basically refresh it each spring or the time that I'm going to plant. Like I said, the other 3 raised beds I did in the fall right before I put the bulbs in them, which still haven't been poking through, but I'm hoping they do soon because it's now finally starting to be consistently a bit warmer. We'll probably still get snow here in April. You never know. So thank you so much for watching. If there's anything that you do differently to refresh your raised beds, definitely let me know. I'm open to trying anything and everything that works for other gardeners. And also let me know if you do leave your roots from your annuals in the soil as well, because I'm interested to see how that will go next year. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.